All right, now to help make sense of what these exit poll figures actually mean and as to how each of these alliance partners would be looking at these exit polls, we're being joined by Mr. Makarand Paranjape. You've just seen what the pollsters are predicting. We should point out to our viewers, these are not the final figures. These are just exit poll numbers. These are in the nature of predictions. There is a scientific method of extrapolation through which these figures are arrived at. But then again, they rely on sample sizes, and it is never really a nice thing because in the past they've proven to be incorrect way more often than they've been proven to be correct. But the question that I want to ask you is this. When the BJP looks at these figures, that it is likely to get easily in excess of 350 seats, that's what the NDA is projected to get. What do you think the BJP is now thinking?
Well, it's already thinking about what it will do when it forms the government. They've got plans in place for the inauguration. But what's fascinating to me is that no exit poll has given them, practically no exit poll has given NDA less than 350. Remember last time they got 353 and the BJP got 303. Now, in the last elections, that's in 2019, most exit polls gave BJP and NDA less than they actually got.
Absolutely.
It may just turn out, it may just turn out that this time they've given them more than they're going to get. We'll find out in 3-4 days. But the important thing is that history is being scripted, I believe, because Narendra Modi is coming back to power for the third time. He was a third-time chief minister in Gujarat, and now he's going to be a third-time prime minister.
We'll talk about what a third term for Narendra Modi will look like. But just to dwell on these exit figure numbers that are coming out, you say that probably this time round the NDA alliance may not get the numbers that the pollsters are predicting. But are you surprised at this? Because this is a wave. We've not been talking about a Narendra Modi wave or a BJP wave. How is it that the pollsters who've been out in the field gathering the data for the last 7 phases of the elections, no one was talking about a wave, but now since 6 p.m., everyone is predicting a landslide victory. Because remember, you only need 272 seats to form the government.
Exactly. So that's my point, that they may not get, 350, as people are saying, but they're still forming the government. So I don't see it as a wave. In fact, I had written about this, that a waveless election actually favors the ruling party as well as the government in place, because that shows there is no anti-incumbency wave against the present dispensation. And another interesting thing, even if the numbers are more or less similar, there's a shuffling going on. The BJP is improving, especially in the south, right? And you mentioned the east as well to some extent, but they may lose some seats in very important states like Bihar, Maharashtra, and even perhaps UP, because in the last stages of the election, I was told from my own sources that things are turning a little bit.
Right. Now, that's interesting. We'll talk a bit more about how the BJP has been performing, the places where it may increase its tally and the places where the numbers may come down. But what do you make of this statement that's been put out by Mallikarjun Kharge? He said, forget these exit polls. These are all, created to put out to create an atmosphere. Listen to what I have to say. The India Alliance bloc will win 295 seats without they are in a position to form the government. What do you make of this confidence by the Congress party leader?
I think it's a lot of kite flying, if not wishful thinking. I mean, if they make even half of that, it'll be good for them. But here's the thing, that if the Congress improves its tally from, I think they had 52 last time, to maybe 75, even that will be a very big gain for the Congress. And I believe that the Congress is likely to improve its tally.
You believe the Congress is likely to improve its tally. Now, a lot of people, especially because this was a very difficult election. It happened in a time when the heat wave just ripped through the northern part of India. It was a very torrid summer that we've had this time round. A lot of pollsters were saying that, listen, this is a waveless election. The voters are unenthusiastic because of the lower percentage of voter turnout that's been witnessed. A lot of people said there may not be anger against the Narendra Modi government, but there is an element of dissatisfaction that has perhaps seeped in after 10 years of his rule. Do you think the people of India are dissatisfied after 10 years of the Narendra Modi government?
Yes, a little bit. And it's but natural, Third terms are very difficult to sustain and the expectations are already high. But I want to, say that it wasn't quite a waveless election because there was a heat wave. And this is something that the Election Commission should really consider, that don't put the electorate through such an ordeal next time. Make it in the more pleasant months of the year so that voting is easier and democracy itself is not an ordeal for India. But here's what, to come back to your point, I think that what's really important is that the government has managed to project itself as the best custodian of the interests of the people of India.
Right.
And ultimately, what worked in their favor is TINA. There is no alternative. The opposition failed to come up with a viable narrative, to prove to the people that they could give a better alternative.
Now, this is also something that is going to be talked about for many years to come. All along, the Bharatiya Janata Party has always been viewed as a party of the North Indians, by the North Indians, and has made very little, inroads into the South. Now, we are basing what we're going to talk on the basis of the exit polls that have come out. Are you surprised that the Bharatiya Janata Party is being projected to win anywhere from 1 to 3 seats in the state of Kerala? And some are predicting that the Bharatiya Janata Party could win as many as 3 to 7 seats in the state of Tamil Nadu, where Dravidian politics has held sway for the last 7 decades. That is going to be a monumental shift in southern politics, don't you think? Provided
Absolutely.
these numbers
But
hold.
I think they may come close to what the projections are, because there's a tremendous discontent, disaffection, dissatisfaction, and anti-incumbency against Dravidian politics in Tamil Nadu. If you travel through the state, people are not happy with, how, of course, they've been in power for about 60 years. So that's also to be expected. And let's not also forget that the BJP has worked really hard. And they have a very good leader, a charismatic leader, Mr. Annamalai, a former IPS officer. Similarly, in Kerala, there's a bit of a jading with the, UDA, the two-horse race, the UDA, LDA, constantly sharing power. And I think the Christian community is playing the swing role here,
Right.
And if they go towards the BJP, I think the BJP is certainly going to gain in the South this time.
Yeah, that's an interesting sort of a place that we need to watch out for. And also talking about, the eastern part of India, in Odisha and Bengal, this really is the big surprise. A lot of people are saying that the BJP may lose a few seats in places such as Haryana, Rajasthan, probably Maharashtra, and perhaps even in Uttar Pradesh. But in the state of West Bengal and in the state of Odisha, it seems to be more than making up for any losses that it may suffer in the western part of India. What do you make of this? Now, all of these are, of course, numbers put out by the exit polls, but can the BJP actually make the kind of inroads in Odisha and West Bengal this time around?
I think it can. In fact, it's not inroads. They're already well established in both states. You remember last time in West Bengal, they had 18 seats. That's incredible. But here's the thing again, that the voters are voting differently for the assembly elections, the state elections, and in the national elections.
Right.
So in the state elections, they've retained Mamata Di in Bengal and in Odisha, Naveen Patnaik. But at the national level, they won the BJP because, as I said, they believe that the BJP is the best custodian of national interests. And obviously, there's a good deal of anti-incumbency in Bengal as well. I've traveled through the state. But it's also the very hard work that the BJP has put in, including the politics of polarization, Hindu consolidation, all of these things, especially in Bengal.
Right.
Much less so in Odisha. But in Odisha, we don't know. There may be a back of the scenes deal,
Right.
a backroom deal, so to speak, between Naveen Patnaik's, ruling Biju Janata Dal and the BJP as a kind of, you might say, fallback.
Do you think there would be a backroom deal? Because what this effectively means is that Biju Janata Dal is ceding space to the BJP in a state which has been the Biju Janata Dal's bastion. This can't be a backroom deal.
No, I mean, they are willing to cede space at the national level.
Right.
Don't forget, there's a simultaneous poll for the state elections as
Absolutely.
well in Odisha. So we see how the voters, decide whether they vote differentially, which shows how smart they are. Their political acumen will be visible when the results come out.
When the results come out, that's going to be a crucial point to see. But Mr. Paranjape, I want to ask you this, because this is something that a lot of pollsters, in fact, get things wrong here. what do people actually vote upon? Do they vote upon hard, concrete, rational things, or is the Indian voter driven by his emotional instinct? Because Narendra Modi has got this very rare quality that few leaders have, that he's able to connect at an emotional level with the people of India. And that is what, you see in election after election, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi goes and campaigns, despite what the performance of the local MP or MLA has been, he seems to be able to sway the voters there. What is it? Is it hard, rational thinking that drives us to have a vote of votes, or is it the emotional appeal of a leader here?
Mr. Saleh, it's both. Now, let me put the contrary argument. If the local candidate is really bad, as we saw in the state elections in Bangalore and in Karnataka, and if the local party hasn't performed well, and the local party then was BJP, despite the charisma of the Prime Minister, they voted the BJP out. So I think both matter. Development matters, the delivery of development matters,
right.
Economics matters, as Mr. Bhalla has said in his recent book, but the emotional connect is so important. Think about it as human beings. Whom will you trust? Voting is about trusting somebody, right? You're handing over your future 5 years to a leader. And even if the common people are hurting with unemployment, with inflation, with other problems, they still believe that the best bet given,
right.
the option before them is the BJP. So I think both matter.
It's interesting that you say both of these things matters. We'll, of course, continue to talk and discuss about how things go, because only one part of the election, the voting process, has ended. The other part, the vote counting and the results, are yet to come. And that, of course, will come on the 4th of June. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Makarand Paranjape, for joining us and getting us all those insights there.
Thank you, Mr. Saleh.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.